Hi, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. It's Region Weather Meteorologist Matt Wentz with your forecast here on the Sunday night for Region Weather Live. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me. You probably saw me pop on for a second. I was about to sit down and do it, and then I realized that this is such a home thing. The dryer was making a lot of noise here tonight because the teachers send the kids home with their snow pants every single week. And so I've got their snow pants in there just tumbling, and they're making so much noise. I was like, no, that's going to be so bothersome. I can't just get up and do it. So anyway, that's where we're at here on this Sunday night. I hope you guys are doing all right. Guys, I've got great news in the forecast. We're going to talk about a warm-up over the next couple days. Not only are we going to warm up, but we've got a lot of wind to contend with to start the week as well. If you're ever going to warm up this time of year, it usually has to come via wind. And if you're ever going to go way below average, same thing. But we've got some wind with a couple storm systems we're watching to our north. And then I really want to spend the bulk of this broadcast talking about the month of February, because there's a big pattern change coming our way. But that pattern change leads to or towards bigger storm systems. And we've been talking about this for some time. January just has not budged in terms of the cold air coming out of Canada, and that pattern's just been stuck. But it is going to start to change as we get into the month of February. And no, there's nothing special about the calendar turn that makes it unique. It just happens to be what Mother Nature is going to do in terms of flipping that pattern once we flip the calendar to February. So really interesting here in the forecast. I do want to real quickly go through our sponsors. We've got some cool events for our sponsors that I would love if you guys could support. And I want to start with the Meals on Wheels one. Meals on Wheels is on March 2nd, so you've got another month to sign up for this. But they do this event. It's their big annual fundraiser. And we all know Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana just does amazing work for the community, right? We all grow up knowing of Meals on Wheels and, volunteer experiences as a kid and as an adult. They're just great. And they serve people that need meals in our own community, right? They're taking care of our own. And their biggest fundraiser, which they could really use your help out, but you also get a lot out of this. It's called Dine with the Chefs. They have a special guest this year for this, Hanuka Wooten, who is a speed painter. And it's going to leave you speechless. I guess she's amazing. She paints these works of art like super fast, and it's just unbelievable. It's going to be crazy. And if that's not enough, they also have just an amazing event with this Dine with the Chefs thing. It's a fun-filled afternoon, exquisite dining. They have designed beverages, 5-course gourmet meal, appetizers, signature cocktails, all sorts of stuff like that, all prepared by local chefs. And it's at the Avalon Manor in Maryville. It starts at 11 a.m. on March 2nd. If you join them, that'd be great. You can go to their webpage for more information or to get tickets. It's Meals on Wheels at northwestindiana.org, but the website is MOWNWI.org. Okay, so Meals on Wheels, MOWNWI.org, or you can call 219-756-3663 and ask for Melissa. You can get tickets if you prefer to pay by phone. Totally legit to do that. But don't miss that event. That is such a cool thing that they've got going on. One of our other sponsors, just awesome person, Kate Cusack with Ruoff Mortgage. She's your local mortgage lender for all your mortgage needs. If you have home buying questions, she's happy to answer those. You don't have to commit to anything, if you just have questions around it. But also she knows that winter has been long. At least January has been. Not a lot of snow, but it's been cold, right? And once we get out of this, you guys, home buying season is going to take off like crazy. Once that first 60, 70 degree day hits, people are like, I need a new home. And then they go out shopping for it. So Kate wants to be the person, and you should have someone like this, that gets you not only pre-approved, but ready to go, gets all your ducks in a line so that once your dream home hits the market and everyone else is going for it as well, you get your papers in there first and you can get that home. And she'll make sure that you do exactly that and get you prepped. So Kate would love to help you do that. If you're considering a new home this year, she'll help you get pre-approved and prepared when your dream home hits the market. Call or text her anytime, 219-775-6645, or visit her at Kate Cusack, Home Loan Girl, here on Facebook. Michael Minogue with Minogue.life. He's your life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid specialist. He's happy to help people understand their coverage that they have that maybe you signed up for over the phone or you signed up online. You probably have a slew of benefits that you're not using, and you may be paying too much for life insurance, for stuff you don't need. And so he can help you save money. He's happy to sit down with you, and he does this in his office with a one-on-one with you or with your husband, wife, spouse, whatever it is. And it's a no-cost review. He'll go over everything for no cost. Nice guy, awesome. He'll ensure you take best advantage of the plan that you have. And also, he reminds us this is a good time to check and update beneficiaries in life insurance. Again, Michael Minogue is the person there to go to. Minogue.life is the website. PSA, if for some reason you've had a broken burst pipe from all the cold over the course of the last week and a half, please, I hope you didn't file a claim with your insurance company first. You need to go to PSA first. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. What they do is they come out right away. They'll take pictures, document it. They'll put a little package together and submit it to your insurance company. And then your insurance company won't reach out to you. They'll deal with them, and they get you more money than you'd get. They have numerous examples on their webpage of how they got more money for people than what their insurance company was going to give by like hundreds of percent. And there's 5-star reviews across the board. There's nothing to lose with this. It's publicserviceadjusting.com. They're all local licensed insured adjusters right here in Northwest Indiana. FBIbuildings.com, place to go for pole barn construction. I had a couple of you over the last couple of weeks that said I had this constructed by them. My cousin has a business constructed by them. They do amazing work around the Midwest. In fact, they've put together over 22,000 projects in their time around the Midwest so far and counting. They're still working in the cold, but they do pole barn construction. So if you have an existing pole barn, whether it be commercial or residential on your property that needs fixed up, they'll do that, or they'll build you a complete new one. And these structures look amazing. I mean, they are modern to the core. I mean, they look amazing, and they do great work. FBIbuildings.com, tigerplumbing.net, place to go. Guys, if there's any water in your house that's going somewhere it shouldn't be, or if you have a drippy faucet or a leaky shower head, call Tiger Plumbing or go to tigerplumbing.net. You can do everything and schedule your appointment on your mobile phone. You can take pictures or video of the problem and send it to them. That way they know what they're dealing with. They can help you out. They're just awesome. Tigerplumbing.net, place to go. And again, they are reminding us that make sure your outdoor spigots are off. I mean, please, it's too late in the season to not have that done. But you should have that done. Make sure your water line is off going to those outdoor spigots, and make sure you have the little covers on them too to keep them insulated. We've got more cold coming our way. Finally, last but not least, Grigor's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades. They have brand new Jeeps out in the lot ready to go. Spring will be here soon. And those Jeeps are like Legos. They just come apart and you can take the walls off and you're still driving, and it's a great looking vehicle, but you don't have a wall or a door. And it's awesome. it's exhilarating, and those warm days will be here, and they're ready to go for you. Grigor's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. All right, let's say hi to our early birds. Thanks for letting me get through those guys. They keep the show for free, and I mentioned our costs have quadrupled in the last 3 months, but boy, we're getting used to paying more at the grocery store and everywhere else, aren't we? So there you go. All right, Justin is first on board. Justin, how you doing, buddy? Hope everything's going well. Jeff's with us here tonight. Mary, hello. And look who made it. Phoebe made it tonight. Hi, Phoebe. Rhonda's here as well. Hi, Rhonda. DZ's with us on our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us there. Guys, if you are on our YouTube channel, we're so close to 1,000 followers on there, subscribers, whatever you call it. I'm getting old. But anyway, if you don't mind giving it a like, that'd be great. Keep our shows going. It'll get the word out there as well. Gail's with us. Susan, Deb, JP, hello. Amanda's with us as well. Well, Amanda, I'm not joking about the snowstorm headline. We'll get into it here in the forecast. Ethan's with us, back from his trip for Florida. Hope it was a very nice trip, Ethan. I know it was cold down there. Mindy, Susan. All right, let's see. And JP likes my title, Bringer of Warmer Air. All right. And Luann's here. Hi, Luann. Say hi to Michael for me, buddy. Or, I mean, my buddy, Michael, for Luann. I usually don't call ladies buddies. My wife, I do, though. I'll call her buddy. Sometimes I'll call her silly things because she hates when I do that. Okay, are you guys ready to dive in? So let's dive into this forecast, shall we? Again, thanks for letting me get through all those things. Here's the big picture right now. Great news for Southern California. They are getting some much needed rain and mountain snow right now. It's not a lot, but it's something. This season, so the way the season's gone, basically it started late December. The jet stream has gone way up in the west. There's been a big ridge out towards the west coast. And then we get the trough in the east. That's why we've been just persistently cold in January in the eastern half of the country, right? We had the Arctic hit earlier last week. That's gone, but we still have, a colder pattern. And so when everything goes up and over, there's no storm systems for Southern California and really the West Coast in general So it's been bone dry out there after a pretty rapid start to the season. If you remember back in October, November, they were getting good mountain snow out there, but that has just come to an end. So anyway, this is the first system in weeks for Southern Cal. It's a cutoff area of low pressure. They've got rain areas like San Francisco got it earlier. Now it's down towards LA. This system will stay cut off for another day and a half or so before it starts to kind of emerge out in the plains. And this is really our next weather player here in the region. I'm not expecting any precip around here outside of a few stray flurries or so. I don't expect any precip around here till Friday. All right. And that's when this system finally gets in here. You can see there's another system down towards the Gulf Coast. Everything kind of coming out of Canada still. And you can see that northwest flow is very prevalent here. So there are two systems that will squeak by us to the north the next 3 days. And these are wind makers. They're Alberta Clipper systems, but they have Pacific origins to them. And they're going to produce a lot of snow for southern Canada and areas of New England. All right. So I'll kind of dive into that forecast here and show you. The thing you'll notice on this map as I take it over the next day and a half or so is that these isobars, or all these black lines, these lines of equal pressure, remember, when they are close together, when you have a lot of them close together, that's wind, all right? Because that means you have a rapid pressure change in a very short distance, as you know, we have a high pressure down to the south and a strong low off towards the north. So you'll notice they really crunch up. Look at this tomorrow night. This system's going to slide by southern Canada. Can't rule out a flurry or two, like a couple snowflakes as this goes by. It would be brief. But the big story is the wind from this. Let's look at the wind field coming in. And it's going to shift our wind from the west-southwest to eventually out of the northwest tomorrow night. So that'll bring in slightly cooler air. But really, there's not a lot of cold air with this system here locally. Some snow showers in Michigan and Ohio. But again, most of those will miss us. Here's system number 2 that comes in here Tuesday into Wednesday. More wind with that and more snow, but the snow stays just off towards our north. So again, both those systems clip us. In terms of snowfall totals, you can see there's not much doing here outside of some flurries. You have to go up towards the UP of Michigan to get any really modest snowfall amounts there, okay? But the wind, look at the wind. Watch how this picks up. This is tomorrow morning. So waking up tomorrow morning, we'll have gusts 20 to 25 ought to do it. It'll be breezy tomorrow morning. But once the sun comes out tomorrow, things should really pick up in terms of wind speeds. We'll go quickly from 20-mile-per-hour winds to 40-mile-per-hour winds as we get into the midday and afternoon hours. So real gusty winds tomorrow, and those continue all the way through the evening hours. Look at some of these gusts coming off Lake Erie over towards Ohio in the 50s, and then eventually it'll kind of wind down tomorrow night. And then we continue to kind of bring in more wind systems here with more 30-plus mile-per-hour winds later Tuesday into mainly early Wednesday. So a lot of wind. We should stay dry again outside of a few flurries here and there, but we're going to be dealing with a lot of wind the next couple days here across not just Indiana, but the region as well. All right. I want to briefly cover Great Lake ice cover. We have a lot of ice fishermen in the region. I get it. You've probably been out and about on area ponds and lakes and stuff like that doing your thing. I saw a cool video over the weekend of Cedar Lake, which is crystal clear. You can see to the bottom of Cedar Lake in terms of that ice. And that ice is thick enough across the region to safely go out on it. In terms of Lake Michigan, not so much. I probably wouldn't do it on Lake Michigan, but some of our area lakes and ponds and reservoirs, they're doing okay right now. They really are with that persistent cold air we've had. But we need to be real careful this week because, again, we're warming up. We had a pretty mild day today. Tomorrow, I've got us in the 40s. I've really got us close to 40 degrees or into the 40s much of this week. So due to that, you know, the ice fishing might want to back off because that ice, again, is going to start to melt. And we're going to start to have some softer spots and things will start to crack. So, but it has been really good for ice fishing here over the last week or so. But in terms of the Great Lakes as a whole, you can see Great Lakes ice coverage up to 24%. So a quarter of the Great Lakes have ice on them. Notice how it's mainly along the shorelines here in Northwest Indiana. If you head out towards the dunes, there's several miles out. You can see the ice, especially as you get towards the Gary area and then curving up towards the Chicago area. That's where the bulk of the ice is. This is open water. These areas in green, that's where you have open water. And then you can see like areas, Lake Erie, obviously the shallowest. So big percentage is frozen on Lake Erie. Lake St. Clair is frozen as well. And then you get up towards Lake Huron. We've got pretty good ice as you get up into areas like Alpena and then down towards the south. And then you can see up towards the north, the deep Lake Superior, still a lot of open water there, but again, some ice near the shores. So Where does that compare to average? Here's your Lake Michigan ice cover. Averages that red line, and look at where we are. We are right at average. So this is typically how much ice we would have on Lake Michigan. And notice this is something kind of a good trivia question that a lot of people don't usually don't answer right. You think the peak ice cover would be in January, right? Because it's the coldest usually in January. No, it's actually mid to late March. And that's for all, or I mean, February. That's for all the Great Lakes because you have maximum cooling up to that point, especially at night. We tend to be below freezing every single night, even going into February. So pretty interesting there. So we're going to continue to kind of go up and down over the next couple of weeks. But boy, things look to kind of go down here as we bring in some warmer air. Bunch of numbers on that screen that you can't see, so I'm not going to show that. And here's Great Lakes ice cover right now. Should be around 25% or so, and that's exactly where we are, making its way to its peak, which is near 40% in middle of February into late February. And then eventually it goes down. And eventually we lose all the ice on the Great Lakes by mid-May. Isn't that nice? So, all right. Let's talk pattern change. We'll go through this. I'm going to go through the forecasts over the next 10 to 15 days. We'll talk February, and then we'll answer your questions as we always do at the end. So here's our jet stream, and this is really what the jet has been doing the entire month of January. Right, it's been coming out of the northwest. You can kind of follow the colors there. Just the direction of the colors shows you where that jet is. This is where all your energy is in the atmosphere as well. Here's your cutoff low over towards California, but you see that trajectory coming out of the northwest. All right, let's take it through time. Here's Tuesday. Here's Wednesday. Really cold air heading up in New England with these two clipper systems. Here comes our cutoff low, finally breaking loose. And see how it gets caught up. The jet stream finally catches it and kind of pulls it in. So there's our precip chance as we go into Friday and Saturday. And then notice how things start to change. By the weekend, our jet finally is not coming out of Canada anymore. This is known as a zonal jet stream. So it's going almost due west to east, right? So that brings a very active pattern where you get storm system, storm system, storm system, but it also keeps really the warm air and the cold air separated. So we stay kind of average in terms of temperatures with this, depending on where it fluctuates. And we can get cold, we can get warm on that, but no major fluctuations in temperatures when you have a pattern like that. But the zonal flow really doesn't last too long because once we get into the beginning of next week, notice this trough for the first time in probably a month and a half starts to dig in out west. That'll be good for California and the moisture and the Pacific Northwest as well. But what this does, remember, the jet stream is usually like a teeter-totter across the United States. And so what side goes down, the other side has to go up. And that's kind of where we've been down in the east. The west has been warm. Things are going to flip. And so as you get this trough and this cold air digging into the western U.S., you get this ridging in the eastern U.S., and that battle zone where storm systems form is really right where these reds are typically. All right. So that's where your strongest jet maxes are. That's where your jet stream really is focusing its energy. And that's where storms can spin up. And this is really the battle line between warmer air and colder air. All right. And so we'll notice kind of that battle zone changes. But the other thing that's going to change with this is the fact that when we have had a northwest flow over the last month, it cuts off the Gulf of Mexico, all the winds coming down towards the Gulf. And so you don't have that flow of moisture north. All right. We had it with that winter storm, the big snowstorm down south last week. They had return flow, but it only went up to like Alabama. It never got up to our region. So we couldn't, we had too much cold air. But what's going to happen starting next week as we get into the month of February is we're going to open the Gulf of Mexico up for business again. So this creates really winter storms and snowstorms out of it where the cold air is. And so the big question I have, I'll show you a couple options for some potential storms we could have around here. But the big question I have is, and we're not going to answer this till we get closer, is will the cold air be far enough south or will it be on the warmer side of things? But I'm telling you, the way things are shaping up, we are going to be right on that line where there's the potential for some good snows around here if that cold air can hold into northwest Indiana. But notice how this pattern just continues. All right, this is February 7th now. We've got just a really good flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, this right here sparks this in the springtime, any time of year, really. This, to me, when you see a pattern like this with a dip with a trough coming into Texas and a ridge coming right up through the Ohio Valley, that tells me two things. It tells me there could be a severe weather risk along the Gulf Coast, and it tells me there's going to be some kind of big storm system or systems that spin up right in this region with big lows that come up through right through Ohio Valley and Northwest Indiana, because you've got cold air in place, warm air as well. So that's February 7th and 8th. And notice how we kind of reload and do it again. Another trough coming in. You've got this ridge here, another storm system likely brewing beyond that. All right. So let's dive into the details. I kind of want to show you big picture, and then we'll zoom in, and I'll show you a couple of the models for the long term here, the 10 to 15 day forecast. But I also want to plant the seed in your mind. I mean, we can look at models all day. You can look at these models, but I want to plant the seed in your mind. What time frames in this modeling we need to watch for some changes and kind of what's locked in stone right now. Okay. So the first two things I want you to note, two big systems up in Canada this week. Remember, we stay dry. Here's big system number one. This is the one driving the wind in here tomorrow. Just incredible. Some of these snows and the wind that's going to be occurring in Canada. Even upstate New York and the Green and White Mountains in Vermont will get a lot from this. But that system heads by. Here's system number two right here. Again, all that misses this just off towards the north. Finally, by Wednesday into Thursday, we're saying hello to this cutoff low, which is finally deciding to leave the desert Southwest. This will head north. And what's interesting in terms of the modeling of this, the models have both flipped to bring us some good snow from this coming weekend, all right? So this is our first system that we have to watch. This one doesn't scream snowstorm to me, but it screams sneaky storm system that we'll see where it ends up. But as of right now, I could see this being a kind of a sneaky 2 to 4, 3 to 6 incher for the region. I'll show you why here. So system comes north, and notice by Friday it's raining. All right. But as cold air wraps into the system, notice how the GFS, which I usually don't show GFS, but I actually kind of like the modeling on it. That's why I'm showing it to you. Notice how it changes some of that rain over to heavy wet snow right along, let's say, the toll road, I-80. All right, even into Ohio, I-90. Real interesting storm system there. And that would be Friday, this Friday and the Saturday. That moves out pretty quickly, though, so it's not too bad. And then here we have a little system that slides by to the north. And here's where this pattern gets going. Remember, next week, 4th and 5th is when we kind of flip into that new pattern. And watch this here. The GFS has like some kind of icy situation developing as this trough swings in. This is next Wednesday. This is 2 Wednesdays from now, so February 5th. And then notice it brings a big low out of areas of the Colorado Rockies, has a nice ice storm. But this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of pattern this is going to get into, where you have real heavy snow on the north end, wherever that cold air is. You have ice in between, and then you have severe weather risk down to the south. The GFS brings this one too far north, at least initially, but then watch how it develops another low there. And this is now February 8th with a full-on snowstorm for us and Chicago, okay? Now, is this going to happen? Probably not, but the pattern's there where something like this will, and it's going to be close by, okay? So we can't look at details yet and say, oh my goodness, Saturday, February 8th, we're going to have a blizzard around here. That's not the takeaway that I want you to have from this broadcast, okay? The takeaway is we're going to get into a pattern where there are going to be snowstorms out there, but we don't know the track of it. Timing's still a little bit off in how they evolve. And the reason why confidence is, and so we know that's going to happen. Okay, that pattern is going to happen. That's a lock. Okay, where we're going to have to watch for snowstorms as we get into the long term here. Okay, so like February 5th onward. All right, but the timing doesn't really line up. And the other thing is we can't look at specifics because of one thing. There's a cutoff low in California right now. And cutoff lows in weather forecasting models tend to throw everything off. All right. So if that cutoff low takes all week and maybe it doesn't get here until Saturday, it's going to back everything up and throw off the modeling. And so if there wasn't a cutoff low in the forecast or one that we're dealing with this week, I would say with higher confidence, yeah, we're going to have some kind of big system around here on the 8th. But again, that cutoff low, they always say cutoff low, weatherman's woe, all right, because it can really screw up a forecast because the models don't handle them well because they don't move like normal storm systems. They're literally cut off. And so they have to get pulled into the jet stream. And that's not something that's typically happening. So it's not a lot of modeling that experience that goes into that. But either way, you can see that big storm system perhaps on the 8th. All right, that goes by. We've got cold air in place behind that. And then we kind of reload, we get a warm up, and then another trough will dig in with perhaps another storm mid-February. All right. So let me go to the Euro real quick because the GFS isn't the only one picking up on this pattern change. So there's your system there. There's your system there, the two clippers. And then here comes our Friday storm. GFS agrees we start as rain on Friday, and then it changes over to wet snow, or the Euro. The Euro is not as confident in a heavy snow from this. All right. It changes over to like heavy wet snow, but only like a 1 to 3 incher out of this. Okay. Either way, we're going to have to watch that. And that's going to be something we need to watch for your Friday evening plans. Okay. Friday morning looks okay. It looks to start as rain, but Friday evening plans, if you have them this upcoming week, we may have some snow around here depending on how this evolves. Again, this is cutoff low associated, so it could change. And then we get into the weekend, and then here's your pattern change as we get into next week. Here it is. All right, this is February 6th. So this starts at a little bit later. The Euro has heavy snow going over to ice Thursday or 2 Thursdays from now, changing over to rain, may have thunderstorms with that. And then notice how it's got cold and snow on the backside with another low kind of reloading here. This would bring some snow to us perhaps once this develops, which would be a couple days after that first low. But that trough is still in place and that pattern's still here. So you get the idea, right? We have snowstorm potential as we go into February. Really the first time this entire season that we've had that and this kind of pattern setting up. This was very reminiscent of the pattern that we had really the last couple winters, where you have that trough and that jet stream kind of riding right up through us. But the last couple winters, we've been on the warm side of almost every system. So remember, the upper Midwest has got slammed with snow last couple years. I just remember snowstorm after snowstorm in Minnesota and Iowa and the Dakotas. But this pattern this year is not that far northwest, especially the one setting up. It looks to set up right over us. So it's pretty interesting in terms of that. Here are some of the numbers that we're putting out here. 20s, 30s. We've got a couple bumps. Says the Wyatt, do you want to come say hi?
Yeah. Hi.
Come on in. They can't see you from there. Look at this kid. I like your hood. You look like a little so Mama got these kids. This is Wyatt. I don't think Wyatt's ever been on. But Mama got these kids these really soft fleece like jammy sets, and they look like little what's the word? Like the guys in the movies that like live in caves. I can't think of the word right now. But anyway, they're super soft. And then she got me one, and I look ridiculous in it, but I don't care because it's cozy. All right, you going to bed, bud?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Good night.
Not yet, because I want to speak.
Okay, get that bead. Okay, good night. Love you.
Mom, I love you too.
All right. Okay, and so you see kind of this pattern here over the next couple weeks where we may get these bumps in temps. I wouldn't count on 49 on Thursday or 52 on Monday the 3rd, all right? But you understand the pattern where we get a bump as that low comes in, you get a little surge of warm air, and then we do it again, and then we do it again. These are all storm systems that will be moving through here. So that's kind of where we stand. All right, so that's really all I got for you in terms of what we're going to cover here in the forecast. So go ahead. If you guys have questions on any of this, we'd be happy to answer those, and then we'll get you on your way here on this Sunday night. All right? Yeah, Jeremy, so... It's the Gulf of America, Jeremy reminds me. This is going to be really tough for me to change if that ends up happening. So I need to go. So we're officially, as meteorologists, we're going to go with the National Hurricane Center. All right. Until they change it, I mean, they're a government organization. Until they change it, we'll do it when they do. But I'm telling you, Gulf of Mexico is so in my head right now that is going to be the hardest thing to do. All right, JP, I agree. Says any warm-up is welcome after sub-zero days. Joe says bring on the snow. Certainly possible. Yeah, Ethan, for sure. He asks, will the next month's storm systems also bring high wind potential? Yeah, these storms, Ethan, when we get that warmer air coming out of the Gulf of Mexico, I mean, we're finally warming up down south, right? I mean, we'll have a lot of 60s and 70s as we go into the latter half of the month into especially February. But when you're messing with 60, 70-degree air, and then you're messing with still cold polar air, you've got real strong low pressures that can develop with that difference. And so, yeah, we can get some good wind makers out of this for sure. Hi, Ann. Thanks for saying hi. I appreciate that. All right. Ann says, sweet dreams. Tina says, what a great dad. Tina, I have great kids, so that makes it even easier. Yeah, we've got 4 littles in this house, 8, 6, 4, and 1. And it's a lot. Yeah, Amanda, thanks for letting them be a part of the broadcast. I'm sure our numbers dropped off dramatically. I don't see any questions. That's good. That tells me that I explained everything nicely. So, yeah, Maxwell, I did see that. Yeah, some of the models have 50s to near 60 at some of these. Now, it all depends. If we get a real strong low and it goes just northwest of us, it's going to grab some of that 50, 60 degree air. 50s and 60s are not out of the ordinary for late January, especially February. Late January, kind of, but into February, we can get anything in February. We've had 70s before. We've had below zero temperatures before. February is really a wild month where we tend to get snowstorms that have warm air and then cold air and heavy snow. But that's the thing that February can do that January typically doesn't, is we can get heavier snow because that Gulf of Mexico moisture is coming further north. And so January, you typically have a lot of polar air. You have, the lakes are involved. So you don't tend to have real heavy snow in January. You can just have persistent snow. But man, February, once that Gulf's open back up, and March, we all know that, we can get some real doozies around here. So we'll see. Oh, Debbie, that's a good question. Can you tell? I have not looked yet, but that's something I typically do as we get closer to Groundhog Day. Susan, I don't think so in terms of winter. I would imagine we're going to have another couple hits of cold. Doesn't mean it's going to be anything Arctic like what we just had, but we could still get sub-zero wind chills the rest of the winter. A couple hits of those still coming. So let's look over here real quick. I do want to see, let's see if the groundhog's going to see its shadow. So we're going to go to, let's make sure I'm on the right model. Let's go up to Monday, or not Monday, I'm sorry. Sunday, Groundhog Day. Here we go. So here's the morning. This is Sunday morning. And we're going to go to cloud cover, which is right here. So it looks, it's going to be such a close call. So it looks like in Punxsutawney, which is somewhere in here. I don't know exactly where Punxsutawney is. It's like in the middle of Pennsylvania. But anyway, it looks like as of right now, the Euro has them in Punxsutawney being clear Saturday night, and then Sunday clouds are moving in. So we'll see if that holds. Again, cut off low, weatherman's woe. Doesn't mean, there's a higher percentage of inaccuracies later this week than in your phone app and everything due to this freaking cut off low. Anyway, in terms of the cloud cover, though, this means that as of right now, it would be, does Punxsutawney, do the clouds get there in time or do they not? And we want clouds, right? Because I always get confused on this. So if there's clouds and it doesn't see its shadow, that means it's an early spring, right? And if it sees its shadow, then that means more winter. Am I right on that, or am I messing that up? I should know that, but listen, the groundhog drives me nuts every single year. There's a lot of us that feel that way. Let me know if I got that right or not. It's also my bedtime, so there's that. Daniel, for those that don't know, Daniel was one of my favorite folks when I was the chief at Lakeshore Public Television. He would always send me pictures of snow on his grill. So Daniel, I miss those pictures. You don't have to send me any. But Daniel asked, will it be a white Christmas? No, it will definitely be a white Christmas next year, Daniel. We're not missing out on that. Let's see. JP, yeah, the Groundhog Blizzard of 2011. Yeah, we could certainly get systems that do that this time of year. Let's see. So Tracy's putting in a request. Let's get it. So Nick, Lola, and Gracie and Tracy are putting in requests. Our house either likes tons of snow, if everyone could be off and enjoy it, or stay above 30 and get a couple inches once a week. So everything could be clean and pretty. I agree, Tracy. There's nothing, I don't want to say there's nothing worse, but like snow that's been on the ground for a long time, it just gets gross, right? And then like when it first falls, it's nice and thick and fluffy. And then once the temperatures come up a little bit, that moisture starts to kind of condense and it just looks flat. So I'm on the team that would vote probably tons of snow. Not that you're asking, but man, I just want a big old system at some point. I don't even care if I have to drive to work in it. I want something big. We've had these nuisance snows here that just, make my commute to work at early in the morning rough, and it's like you don't get anything out of it. So that's that. Let's see. Mark, they train. I think they have Varman language classes for months. Yeah, Debbie, you're right. Yeah, we've had 70s in February before. That's what I remember too. A couple hits of that. LC, thank you for pointing that out. I think I messed that up. Oh, wait. Sally says I was right. I'm going to have to look it up. That's fine. And who cares? Who cares what the groundhog sees? Doesn't change anything. Maxwell, thank you for that. He says, if we get thunderstorms. Maxwell is our awesome photographer of lightning. He just gets the most incredible shots. Tracy says, bring it on then. Yeah, Debbie, I thought so. If the groundhog, oh no, so did I screw that? No, I didn't screw that up. I said it right. So if he does not see a shadow, so if it's cloudy, it means that spring will come and it's going to be sunny soon. That's the way I always remembered it. And if it's sunny and it's nice, then that means that we've got bad weather coming. It's opposite. It means whatever it is, it's going to change over the next 6 weeks. Again, that's how I remember it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you, Jessica and Ricky. All right. Okay, I think that's it. All right, I'm getting off tangent here, and I'm wasting your time, and I don't ever want to waste your time. So again, guys, I hope that was good for you guys. I hope you understand the weather a little bit better and kind of what we're looking for over the next month, really, and especially the first half of February. We see that pattern. So again, I hope this is helpful. If there's anything that you guys ever want me to throw in here, I threw ice cover in there. If that's a waste of your time, let me know. Again, if you need me to just get right to the forecast and you just want to know what the weather's going to be this week, let me know that too. Like, trust me, I've been in this business long enough. I can take constructive criticism. But again, this show's for you. This show's not for me. It's for you guys. And I want you to get something out of it every Sunday night. So there's that. All right. I do appreciate, Jeff, I see your comment there. So true. Jeff says, it's sad that New Orleans and Florida have seen more snow this winter than Northwest Indiana. It's insane, Jeff. In fact, I saw a post from a local meteorologist down in Louisiana, I believe, said that Milton, Florida, which got nailed with snow, they've had more snow. They had more snow in their single day than any major city in Canada has had in a single day, which is just incredible. So yeah, everything's been kind of backwards for sure. Tom, I appreciate the poem. I'm going to leave you this. Tom leaves us with a wonderful, I was going to say soliloquy. I don't know what that is, but English class is beyond me. February made me shiver with every weather report you deliver. Tom, that's great. Good. William Baker, avid ice fisherman, so he appreciated it. Good. Okay. All right. So I'm glad the ice stuff, we'll continue to cover that. I always want to cover things that are a little different too, that maybe you're wondering about. Because if I'm wondering about it, I assume you are too. So there's that. Okay. All right, guys. Make sure you stay tuned for the forecast this week with that Friday system. All right. That's the one we'll have our eyes on this week with that potential for some snow Friday evening into Friday night. Okay. All right. You can catch us on our radio stations. You know that X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, Z107.1, and the Lakeshore FM. And we also have our forecast daily on regionweather.com. You guys know that. If you haven't signed up for the email list yet, go ahead and do that. Right on regionweather.com on the right-hand side, it says sign up for daily emails. It's one a day. Again, I hand type it in the morning. I make a cute little picture that explains the weather, and I'll send it to your inbox. And sometimes I'll say, like, happy Monday. Like, I'm in it with you. All right. That's probably what I'll do tomorrow morning. But anyway, sign up if you get a chance. It's my way to communicate with you throughout the week if you're not on Facebook and stuff like that. Okay. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. We're getting there. We're gaining daylight. Average highs are starting to go up. We're out of this deep winter funk. Okay. But we've just, we're not done with winter yet. That's the problem, but we'll get there. All right, guys, talk to you soon.